All right, we find ourselves here yet again. It is night 3 out of 4 of the Democratic National Convention. We have a bunch of speakers we will be hearing from today, including former President Barack Obama. I will be hearing from you and your comments. I have other memes, as I like to say, and we have a whole bunch of different things going on. But it is night 3 of 4, and then next week will be the RNC. Friday's my first PogChamps game. Let me actually see, what is my PogChamps schedule? So Friday I've got a game, Monday, and then the following Saturday, I guess is my schedule. But in the meantime, we're going to have all sorts of things happening starting at the top of the hour. So what is on the schedule for today? Today we will have Senator Elizabeth Warren. We will have a performance by Billie Eilish. We will have House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, Governor Tony Evers, Governor Michelle Grisham, former Congresswoman Gabrielle Giffords, Jennifer Hudson will perform, Prince Royce will perform, Senator Kamala Harris, the vice presidential nominee, is going to perform. She will be speaking. It will be a performance of sorts. These are all really performances, as they're mostly highly choreographed. And then former President Barack Obama will be, I'm guessing Obama is going last, although maybe Senator Kamala Harris is actually going last. But there will be performances and speeches of all kinds, starting in only 8 minutes. Only 8 minutes to go. Lola Cole is checking in with a super chat and says, how old is David Pakman? I'm 22 years old. And I've been doing the show for 15 years. Actually, this Sunday is the 15-year anniversary of the show. So you do the math. We also did start to get a list of people who will be speaking at the Republican National Convention. And it's crazy. Like, it almost seems like it has to be a joke. Look at this. The St. Louis couple who pointed guns at Black Lives Matter protesters are going to be speaking at the Republican National Convention. My streams of the RNC are going to do way better than the DNC, right? Because this is insane. It's completely insane. The St. Louis couple who pointed guns at Black Lives Matter protesters. They misspelled Covington. The Covington teenager captured in a viral interaction with a Native American elder is going to be speaking at the RNC, if you can imagine something more insane. Anti-abortion activist Abby Johnson. That seems almost pedestrian compared to what else is expected. So, okay, this is the gun-wielding couple. You can't write this shit, as people are saying. Exactly. Patricia and Mark McCloskey are the St. Louis homeowners who gained attention for wielding guns at protesters. They will be speaking on Monday. Also speaking will be Covington High School graduate Nicholas Sandman. Criminal justice reform advocate Alice Johnson. She's the one who had her sentence commuted after Kim Kardashian told Trump about her. Former Planned Parenthood clinic director turned anti-abortion activist will be there. Melania Trump is speaking. A bunch of Trump's kids. Former UN ambassador Nikki Haley. Senator Tim Scott. They need a black person there, obviously, so they're bringing in Tim Scott. Joni Ernst, South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem, Pennsylvania congressional candidate Sean Parnell. It's a mess. It's a mess. Now, what I don't know is, does anybody know the time of day? Is the RNC also going to be 9 to 11? I would prefer it to be earlier, but I haven't been able to find it. If anybody can tell me when. What's the schedule for from the standpoint of the clock? What's the schedule for RNC? I don't know if anybody knows. And in the meantime, while I wait for answers on that, Jacob Ratner asks about my thoughts on the Russia news out of the Senate. We'll be covering that on the show tomorrow. And have I had any time to practice chess? I hope you choose to castle early. Yeah, I've been doing a lot of now. In addition to my public practice, I've also been doing shadow opposition research. And that's a very, very important thing. Let's see here. James Buccino says, hopefully Trump's heart might stop soon due to all the ice cream and fast food. I would never wish that on anybody. Okay, so people are saying that it looks scheduled for 9 to 11. Okay, so I guess it's going to be 9 to 11 next week as well. Let me see if I can find something. RNC schedule. Let's see if I type in 9 to 11 Eastern. Watching the DNC and RNC. Okay, here we go. Looking for an article. 10 to 11 is on ABC. Fox News. This is crazy. This doesn't seem to make it clear. I'm assuming that it's the same schedule, 9 to 11. But I guess we don't know. We don't know for sure. Okay. A lot of people grabbing YouTube memberships. Commander Unnamed, Lawrence Golden, Emily Swoboda, Masts, John Thompson, Myra Herbstman, as well as Stephen Belgard, all signing up over on YouTube. Also, Sadman008 has grabbed a Twitch Prime subscription. If you didn't notice earlier, Donald Trump seemed to almost like endorse QAnon. I mean, this is really aggressive stuff. Take a look at this. This was just hours ago.
Theory is this belief that you are secretly saving the world from this satanic cult of pedophiles and cannibals. Does that sound like something you are behind?
Well, I haven't heard that, but is that supposed to be a bad thing or a good thing?
Right.
If I can help save the world from problems.
It sounds like the QAnon beliefs are all good things.
I'm willing to do it. I'm willing to put myself out there. And we are, actually. We're saving the world from a radical left philosophy.
So then he's saying, I haven't heard it, but if that's what they're saying, it doesn't sound bad. And in fact, it is what I'm doing.
That will destroy this country. And when this country is gone, the rest of the world would follow.
Right.
The rest of the world would follow.
There you go. So very, very poignant Donald Trump there, as you can see. We will be keeping an eye on Donald Trump's tweets throughout the evening. He did tweet an hour ago, welcome back, welcome Barack and crooked Hillary. See you on the field of battle. Also tweeted clips from his own press briefing earlier. An update in terms of subscribers on YouTube. We are now projected by Social Blade to reach 1 million YouTube subscribers on October 29th. That's the latest update. And of course, it's very exciting for me. I don't know that anybody else cares, but it's certainly very, very exciting for me. And as I did yesterday, so my goal is, if there are sort of like, I don't know what to call them. If there are elements tonight that are not the primary speeches or of interest for some other reason, I will probably hear from you guys and read messages from you guys via Super Chat, via Twitch, etc. And then we'll mute during those periods and then watch. But that's sort of the plan. It seemed to work relatively well yesterday anyway. And of course, if we do get to 50 website members or patrons, the phone lines via Discord will be blown wide open. We have a new official David Pakman Show Discord. You can find it at davidpakman.com/Discord. And that's the official Discord. And that's where we will take phone calls if indeed we achieve 50 website members and patrons. And I'm going to do you guys a favor. There was someone who signed up yesterday right after the stream ended, and they weren't counted. Just for kicks, we're going to count them as number one. Okay, that's a gift. That's a gift from me to you. So that is all happening very powerfully. Super chats continue to come in. Your local GP says when Brexit happened, the UKIP party pretty much disappeared, lost its raison d'etre. Will the same happen to the David Pakman Show? Yes. If Trump loses, very good for the country. The end of the David Pakman Show. Okay, so enjoy it while it lasts. Tyler McClary says Nicholas Sandman and St. Louis gun waivers speaking at the RNC. Laura Loomer and Marjorie Taylor Greene win primaries. Republican Party has huge problems regardless of Trump. Remember, down ballot, folks. Not only that, even if Trump loses, we still will have 60 million people that voted for him living in this country. How do we deal with them? You understand what I'm saying? That's another major problem that we're going to have to deal with. A lot is happening here. Noob by default subscribed with Twitch Prime. D. Miller gifted a subscription. Stephen Belgard signed up at joinpacman.com and is new member number 2. Sabres Man, actually Vicky Tabor grabbed a Soy Boy membership. Sabres Man says Democrats should fight for early voting as much as mail-in. Expanded at least a month, it would make this so much safer. Absolutely. Completely agree with you. Tam I Am has subscribed. Jackson says, David, I'm a huge fan of your elements of humor from the standpoint of entertainment. Absolutely. I agree with that. CG says, you just want to watch Billie. Johnny Minogue says, I hope Billie Eilish sings Bad Guy to someone dressed up as Trump. That would be kind of funny. That's not a bad idea. I kind of like the sound of that for sure. There was lower viewership on night 2 of the convention than night 1. So I think night 1, there was more of a novelty. It was the first night, but it wasn't the best. Night 2, I think was better, but lower viewership. And then we will see if, my guess is maybe viewership will build tonight and then peak tomorrow night. By the way, Rush Limbaugh, as many of you know him, did quote me. He quoted me from one of the tweets I sent on Monday. I will play that for you just briefly, just to give you a little bit of a flavor. Here it is.
David Pakman, political TV, radio show host, tweeted, someone please talk me off the ledge.
Right.
I want to win. The first 22 minutes of this convention, I'm scared. Can somebody tell me how great this is or something? Can somebody make me feel better?
Now, can somebody make me feel better? He is putting in my mouth. I didn't actually say that, but that was Rush Limbaugh. So we talked about that on the podcast today. Hardcore FPS says, look for the video of Gretchen Whitmer talking about Shark Week. It's hilarious. I did see that. In fact, I guess we have some time. Let's see. Whitmer Shark Week. See if we can find it. Here it is.
It's not just Shark Week. It's Shark Week.
Right.
I have learned about the hot mic.
Yeah, she really, really needed a glass of water during that thing, but nobody helped her out. Okay, the hype train is leaving the station on Twitch with Fluffy Leprechaun subscribing with Prime. It's happening. Bernie Sanders says, thoughts on Shapiro saying Biden is a far-left radical? No idea. I don't watch Ben Shapiro. I have no idea what he said. And since I don't know, it would be weird to comment on it. I want to say thanks to Sean Davis, who's new member number 3 on my website tonight, and Savannah Banks, who is new member number 4 tonight. Very much appreciate that. David R. says, David, my girlfriend is back in town and we are ready to watch. What can we expect tonight? Well, I think the most interesting components tonight are going to be Kamala and Barack Obama. And we are just moments from the start. There are just formalities here that are continuing, so we're not covering those in any particular detail, but we are going to get to this as soon as the meat starts. The SR Conan says, if Trump loses, will there be any kind of prosecution? I think people have to forget about that. Okay. I keep getting people asking me, will Trump be taken out in handcuffs? This is not a country that arrests former presidents or charges former presidents. I'm not saying that it wouldn't be warranted. I'm just saying it doesn't happen. And I don't believe it's going to happen with Donald Trump. And so the accountability is making him a one-term president, which is difficult to do. Bill Clinton did it to George H.W. Bush. That's H as in white. And it's difficult to do. It's just difficult to do. So I think that is really what we need to be looking forward to. Joseph Vanskoy says, what will the Republican Party look like post-Trump? I have a video clip up on my YouTube channel from last Friday discussing that. So I encourage you to check that out. Let's listen to a little bit of Governor Tony Evers here. Oh, no, he's done.
Hello, my name is Terry Williams. I've been a Republican for all of my adult life.
A lifelong Republican.
Okay, all right. I guess we have a little bit more time here. Thanks to JHKJDDU for subscribing over on Twitch, where we have not achieved level 5 hype train for like 10 days, which is really sad. Thanks to Captain Murdoch for subscribing with Prime. Charlie says, from the standpoint of tires, what's your take in the Goodyear silly business? It's like the right claims to be against boycotts, and then Trump is saying boycott Goodyear. So it's a little bit weird for sure. Aaron McClay says nothing. Okay. BJ Blitz says improperly weighted polls by party ID, real or not. Give me a specific poll that you believe is improperly weighted by party ID, and then we can look at it. This is people asking what this is. We're kind of in a transitional period. It's a liminal phase is the way I would describe it. We are in a liminal phase between the pre-show and the convention. But just stick with me, and you're not going to miss anything. And in fact, it looks like it's about to start right now. Thanks to Mama Rabes and Tile MCN for subscribing with Twitch Prime. Very much appreciate it. We already, it's only the 19th of the month, and we've already surpassed July in its entirety on Twitch, which is very exciting. And I love to see that. Okay. Bernie Sanders, what are your main disagreements with Noam Chomsky? This user who sends me messages under the name. Oh, hold on a second. Looks like it's Kamala.
Everybody, it's me, Kamala. So before I go on stage later tonight, I want to talk about the importance of voting.
Yes.
I know many of you plan to vote this year, but amidst the excitement and enthusiasm for this election, you've also heard about obstacles and misinformation and folks making it harder for you to cast your ballot.
Yes.
So I think we need to ask ourselves, why don't they want us to vote? Why is there so much effort to silence our voices? And the answer is because when we vote, things change. When we vote, things get better.
Right.
When we vote, we address the need for all people to be treated with dignity and respect in our country. So each of us needs a plan, a voting plan. Joe and I want to make sure you're prepared.
What I've been saying.
If you text VOTE to 30330, we'll help you come up with your plan and remember deadlines and get ready to vote in your community. So send that text and encourage your family and friends to send one too. Now let's enjoy another night of inspiration from around our country. I'll see you a little later tonight, and until then, I turn it over to my dear friend and tonight's moderator, Kerry Washington.
Here we go.
Welcome to night 3 of the Democratic National Convention. I am honored to be joining you as we continue to celebrate this unconventional convention. We're going to be hearing a lot more from Senator Harris later, I promise. But first, when I was in 7th or 8th grade, we memorized the preamble of the Constitution, and I've never forgotten it. The first 15 words of our Constitution are, "We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union." We say more perfect because our union is not without flaws. When our Constitution was written, women couldn't vote. Black people were considered 3/5 of a human being, but therein lies the work. No one is perfect. Nothing is, but it is the striving toward justice, equality, and truth that distinguishes us. We fight for a more perfect union because we are fighting for the soul of this country and for our lives. And right now, that fight is real.
Right.
Tonight, we are going to hear from so many phenomenal women who are working to help us build that more perfect union. Speaker Nancy Pelosi, Secretary Hillary Clinton, Senator Elizabeth Warren, Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham. We're going to see an incredible performance from Jennifer Hudson and a world premiere performance from Billie Eilish. We'll meet so many of the activists and organizers working to build a more equal, more just future. And we're going to hear from our 44th president, Barack Obama.
Right.
That's a long way of saying this is going to be an unforgettable night filled with important voices. But the most important voice we hope to hear from tonight is the one we need to hear from most. It's yours. Because if we are going to repair the damage that has been done, If we are going to finally realize the dream, we, the people, have to get involved. Each and every one of us is the we. You are the we. It's going to be your voice, your service, your action that helps us create that more perfect union. Tonight, we're going to talk about where we are and where we're going on so many issues important to our future. 90% of Americans support common sense gun laws because we need to do more to address the epidemic of gun violence. Let's start there.
All right, so a number of presentations, as you can hear, planned today. We will be hearing from a former president and almost president. We will be hearing from Elizabeth Warren. We will be hearing from Kamala Harris. And I think it's going to be a very interesting evening, if nothing else. And we will see if anybody has lighting as pristine as that which Bill Clinton had yesterday. Just one of the best. The gaffer needs to get a promotion, whoever handled that. I see a lot of questions and thoughts continuing to come in, and we will get right back here with the next speaker. John Vucinic says, did that guy who cast your stream at the Republican bar ever send you video? No, but let me mention that I often hear after the fact that people are watching the stream in a bar, in a restaurant, whatever, and sometimes the crowd likes it and sometimes the crowd doesn't like it. If you are in that situation right now, if this stream is on in any bars or restaurants or whatever, please get us video of the scene and people's reactions. Are people furious? Are people not? That would be something I would be very likely to put up on stream. And when the last time it happened, which was a long time ago, it was actually pretty funny. Benjamin Spiegel's asking about Belarus. I don't want to, I'm not comfortable enough that I know all of the details to really be able to comment intelligently. And so I prefer not to comment at all until I am so informed. Matt Chavez says trying to convert Trumpists at this point in time is absolutely useless. However, converting libertarians and third-party voters can be fruitful. What are your thoughts? Yeah, I think that's very reasonable. Much simpler as well, I would certainly say. BJ Blitz says, many on the right claim polls are wrong because most are improperly weighted by party ID. Is this nonsense or is there truth to any major degree? Well, so what that means is if a state has 33% Republicans and a poll only gives Republican respondents 30% weight, they would, in that scenario, they are underweighing Republicans by 3 percentage points. So that's the idea of it. Is it actually happening? Show me an example. Show me an example, and then we can look at that. My mic is low, some people are saying. That's interesting. I haven't made any changes as far as audio goes. Let me just go one click up here. Click, click, click. Maybe that's a little bit better. I want to make sure people are hearing me. Jocelyn Council says, as you're approaching your 15th anniversary, where would you like to see the David Pakman Show in 5 more years? Hosted by someone else with me retired on a beach. How about that? What would people say? We might not need the show anymore if we fix the country in the next 5 years. That would be something very interesting. And Claire Zeller says, hi, David. Hey, Claire. Great to hear from you. Parrot Killer says, hype it up via Twitch. And a lot of people think it's going to take more than 4 years to fix the country. I think you're probably right. Jake Goldman asks if I think that viral dress picture was the dress blue or gold. I don't even remember at this point. I really have no memory of the actual color. Big thank you to Stephen Gladney, who's new member number 5 today. Carolyn Kintish is new member number 6. And Luis Cortina is new member number 7, which is really a great start. 7's a great number. I love the number 7. And Assad Khatib says, keep it up. Let's see what's happening here as we await our first major speaker of the evening.
Done 3 times, but I can't touch or hug him due to COVID-19. People tell me that I'm lucky. I tell them we are blessed. I remind them that my son is in a wheelchair and unable to feed himself. I don't think DeAndre feels lucky when he has to be bathed from head to toe or gets injections for muscle contractions. I am in a space of gratitude. Yes, I can touch DeAndre, I can hold his hand, but the child that I birthed is not able to live his dreams. And that hurts. Every day, we're reminded that he may never be the same. We are not alone. In every town across America, there are families who know what a bullet can do. That's why I'm a mom who volunteers to stop this. President Trump, he doesn't care. He didn't care about the victims after Parkland, Las Vegas, or El Paso. I want a president who cares about our pain and grief. A president who will take on the gun lobby to ban assault weapons and close the loopholes to keep guns out of the hands of criminals. Joe Biden has taken on the NRA twice and won.
So just a quick note, I don't think it's a bad idea to address the issue of guns. We know from polling that it is not a major issue in this election, so I think it needs to be done carefully and strategically.
Lost their children to gun violence.
It's not a major voting issue, what I mean. The top three are coronavirus, the economy, and race relations.
5 school shootings. And I made each of them a promise. I made myself a promise. I promised them, and I promise all of you, I will make this promise today. Those families hurting across the country, I will never, 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 never give up this fight.
Out of pain, we choose to find meaning. A glimmer of light that lands on a promise. Former Congresswoman Gabby Giffords, shot in the head from less than 3 feet away.
I remember it.
But she survived. When tragedy strikes, we seek comfort in knowing we aren't alone.
Join us in this fight.
We seek strength to keep fighting, to keep moving
So sad.
forward. We turn to leaders who share our pain.
In the most difficult times, it's when we stand closest together. It's out of tragedy that we grow stronger.
He was there for me. He'll be there for you too.
We are a nation ready to end gun violence. A safer America is possible. But from this point forward, we must choose courage.
I've known the darkest of days. Days of pain and uncertain recovery. But confronted by despair, I've summoned hope. Confronted by paralysis and aphasia, I responded with grit and determination. I put one foot in front of the other. I found one word and then I found another. My recovery is a daily fight, but fighting makes me stronger. Words once came easily, today I struggle to speak. But I have not lost my voice. America needs all of us to speak out, even when you have to fight to find the words. We are at a crossroads. We can let the shooting continue, or we can act. We can protect our families, our future. We can vote. We can be on the right side of history. We must elect Joe Biden. He was there for me. He'll be there for you too. Join us in this fight. Vote, vote, vote. Thank you very much.
Imagine you're a member of Congress just out at an event. Some lunatic nut shoots you in the head. Next thing you know, you'll be lucky if you ever speak again. I mean, just insane.
We're facing COVID-19, structural racism, police violence against Black bodies, violence against members of the trans community. We are facing so many challenges. To meet these challenges, we will need systematic solutions. We need leaders who can see us, hear us, represent us, all of us. To Joe Biden, nothing is more important than taking the time to make sure that people are seen, heard, and believed in.
I was interning in DC, and I remember I called my grandmother, and I said, Joe Biden's walking by. And she goes, oh my God, put him on. And I see his staffer going like, no, like don't take the call. What are you doing? And he points to his staffer and he goes like go that way. And he sent his staffer away.
How could I not be endeared to him instantly? He talked to me for the next half hour.
I see Dana Bash from CNN there. And she says like, Senator Biden will be on in like 5. And he sends her away.
He asked me about my sons. He asked me about what I did. All I know is it was all about me, not about him.
And then he comes back to me then and he goes, it was lovely talking to your grandmother. And then he starts the interview with Dana Bash. It was unbelievable.
I must interject one thing. At the very end of his chat with me, he said, could you do me a favor? I said, sure, what is it? He said, tell me how I can get your grandson's hair. He was good-humored. He was sensitive.
Okay, so we're getting into some of these more ancillary moments as we await the next speaker. I will read a few messages that have come in. TR01150NG5 says, Gabby Giffords is more coherent than Trump. Yeah, well said. Dried Mangoes asks, should Bill Clinton have spoken since his link to Epstein? Trump's president, guys. Okay, Trump's president. So clearly that's not the standard that we go by. Aaron McClay says, with Trump trash-talking Fox recently, do you think he may be angling to buy or start a media company that competes with Fox should he lose? Certainly a possibility. And Sophie Faraday says, you're live right now, but YouTube doesn't show you as live. That's sketch. Yeah, I don't know much about that, but clearly people are finding the stream. No, YouTube does show me as live on my when I just searched. So I think that is certainly happening. Let's see if now it is time for the next speaker or if it will be more. No, it is not. It's Matthew from Arizona. Okay. So we will stand by as things continue to come in. Zion says, rest in peace, Michael Brooks. I didn't realize how much he meant to me until he was gone. Isn't that a common story? Let's keep him in our thoughts. Left is best. All right, Zion, very, very nice. I appreciate the message. I do want to say thanks to Marian Sosa, who is new member number 8 today at joinpacman.com. Remember, we are targeting 50 new website members, and then the phones will open. It'll be like magic. Not like it'll be like magic, the virus will just leave. No, it'll be like magic. The phone lines will just open, and it's going to be incredible. It's going to be truly incredible. Over on Twitch, G Money Rider sends me the message, keep up the good work, D-Man. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Good evening, America. I'm Michelle Lujan Grisham, governor of the great state of Nuevo Mexico. I'm proud of my home state every single day, especially how we have punched above our weight in our successful response to COVID-19.
Yes.
I'm proud of New Mexicans from Taos to Truth or Consequences who have stepped up and sacrificed in so many incredible ways this past half year. And I'm proud how we embrace our multicultural identity as our greatest strength. And I'm proud that New Mexico has shown what climate leadership looks like. While the Trump administration has been eliminating environmental protections, we've expanded them. While they've been rolling back regulations on oil and gas, we've taken on polluters and held them accountable. We've committed to a renewable energy future with exciting and fulfilling careers for workers all across our beautiful state, including right here in the heart of northern New Mexico. We're laying a roadmap here for what America can and should look like in the 21st century. An America where we lead again, where we build safer, cleaner, and more affordable cities and communities, where we provide meaningful opportunities for workers and families to thrive and build better lives. As president, Joe Biden will rejoin the International Climate Agreement, and the United States will once again lead on this critical issue. At home, he'll invest in energy workers, and he will deliver for working families across the U.S., helping them build meaningful careers while accelerating our nation and world into a clean, green 21st century and well beyond. We know time is running out to save our planet. We have the chance this November to end two existential crises: the Trump presidency and the environmental annihilation he represents. We have the chance this November to attack the climate crisis, invest in green 21st century jobs, and embrace the clean energy revolution our country, our young people are crying out for, and the leadership the rest of the world is waiting for. The choice is clear. The choice is Joe Biden. Thank you, America.
There's the New Mexico governor.
Hard work, rising to a challenge, the American way. Going to the moon was all three.
The Eagle has landed.
Many astronauts returned home and reported a shift in their awareness. The view they saw of Earth from space was profound. The world looked beautiful, tiny, fragile. Our atmosphere is all that separates us from oblivion. We now call what they experienced the overview effect.
Here in Detroit, our communities for such a long time have faced the burden of pollution.
Okay, a lot of you with a lot of different messages coming in. Wallace Derricott asks whether I have thoughts on John Ossoff's chances of winning the Senate seat in Georgia. I mean, listen, the polling's not looking great, but it's worth fighting. It's worth fighting for. That would be an amazing win. Brian P. says, Sam Cedar trolls are coming in force tonight. Stay safe out there, David. I'm not noticing anything. But again, I'm also not paying attention, so that may be a factor. Techie Studios says, hey, David, I'm thinking to run for a local office position. What advice would you give? Keep up the great work as usual. Oh, that's so vague. I mean, listen, I think knowing nothing else, the only advice I could really give is make sure that it's a position that you're not just running to run, but you're running for a particular reason, that's the position for you with a goal as to what is it that you're looking to do? What can you bring to it that others maybe would not or could not. And but beyond that, it's tough to say too much more. We are almost 25% of the way through night 3 of the Democratic National Convention. We'll still be hearing from Nancy Pelosi, Elizabeth Warren, Hillary Clinton, Kamala Harris, and Barack Obama, all upcoming. And we will certainly not miss a second of those speeches. We are live on YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch, and I'm so glad that people are joining today. Mr. Robbins says, David, we are being evacuated all over California as you speak. If the climate crisis is humanity's biggest threat, it is. Why is the left so quiet? I don't see the left quiet about it. So I just don't agree. Claire Zeller asks about my thoughts on Laura Loomer winning a primary in Florida. Ominous time for our country would be my reaction. NATO Jenkins TV has beautifully gifted 5 subscriptions over on Twitch. Black White Rook has also grabbed one. And Donkey Show has subscribed. Sarah Stein says, can we get Jon Stewart on the roster? I was at his rally, and if there's anyone who can get us motivated, where is he? I would love to see Jon Stewart speak here. Bay Photo would love for someone to point out that the chaos in the streets that Trump talks about isn't Biden's America, it's Trump's America. Yes, Bay Photo, you're right. And I've been trying to make this point. Donald Trump is running against Biden by saying it's chaos in the streets. Reelect me. Wait, why? If the chaos is bad, don't we want to change? Why? That doesn't really make any sense. Now, Trump's argument is, oh, well, it's because the chaos is in democratically run places. Okay, it doesn't seem to bear it out. Let's take a listen to what's going on.
I could hardly breathe. I'm Alexandra Villasenor, and I've been organizing young people around climate change since 2018.
Here it is,
Climate change is impacting us now, and it's robbing my generation of a future. For young people my age, every aspect of our lives, from where we go to school, to what kind of careers we'll have, to whether or not we can raise a family, depends on us taking climate change seriously right now. Joe Biden won't solve this crisis in 4 years. No one can. But he will put us back on track so that my generation can have a fighting chance. I'm asking you to join us. Don't let our futures go up in flames.
The corn growers near my parents' farm have a saying, knee-high by the 4th of July. These days they're lucky if the corn is even planted because of unpredictable and torrential spring rains. I'm Andrew Adamski. I studied microbial ecology at Northern Michigan University. Us farmers can see the effects of climate change happening right in front of us. So we've been trying to do our part. We're adopting sustainable solutions on my family's farm, switching to a community model, using less land, and reusing our resources to grow our food. We are eliminating tons of carbon pollution every year by mimicking natural ecosystems. Farmers can be part of the climate solution instead of a problem. Today, we all can grow our own future, but we need our leaders to be part of the solution as well, instead of part of the problem. We need them to commit to the science, not ignore it. We need them to put real plans on the table rather than roll them back. That's what Joe Biden is doing with his clean energy revolution. Instead of being left behind, we could lead the world again.
I spend a lot of time talking about climate change with different communities here in Nevada. And the one question that I get asked over and over again is, what are you doing here? Not a lot of climate activists look like me. My name is Catherine Lorenzo. I'm an Afro-Latina, and I'm a climate activist. I grew up in a low-income neighborhood where pollution rates are often higher than wealthier areas, and a lot of kids have asthma. Switching to renewable energy would mean cleaner air, better health, and a steadier income for folks in neighborhoods like mine. Because solar PV installers and wind turbine techs are some of the fastest growing jobs in the country. And Joe Biden's plan is transformative. He knows that saving the planet isn't just a challenge to overcome, it's an opportunity for a better way of life.
So what's it gonna be, America?
Are you ready to vote for Joe Biden?
Are you ready to solve the climate crisis?
Because our futures depend on it.
Okay.
Like the folks we just heard from, next up is another activist and environmentalist, not to mention an immensely talented artist. She worked to ensure that her most recent concert tour was green and sustainable, urging her fans to take similar actions in their daily lives. And even before she herself was old enough to vote, she held registration drives before her shows, signing up thousands of voters. She's a voice for her generation in both her music and her activism. Here to perform My Future publicly for the first time, Billie Eilish.
Huge.
You don't need me to tell you things are a mess. Donald Trump is destroying our country and everything we care about. We need leaders who will solve problems like climate change and COVID, not deny them. Leaders who will fight against systemic racism and inequality. And that starts by voting for someone who understands how much is at stake. Someone who's building a team that shares our values. It starts with voting against Donald Trump and for Joe Biden. Silence is not an option, and we cannot sit this one out. We all have to vote like our lives and the world depend on it, because they do. The only way to be certain of the future is to make it ourselves. Please register, please vote.
I can't seem to focus.
Do we want the music, or do we want messages from you guys?
I'm not here. I'm just a mirror. You check your complexion to find your reflection.
All right, we'll go with it. I'll do new member thank yous over it. Jambo is number 9. I should have a backing track all the time in life. Barbara Dennis, number 10. Alexander Morehouse Rome is number 11.
I've changed my plans.
Chris Trin, number 12. Wow, it's so laid back. Never had such laid back member announcements.
With my future.
Love it.
Can't wait to meet her. And
Thanks, Grumpy House, for the sub.
but not with anybody else.
High energy.
Just wanna get to know myself. I know supposedly I'm lonely now.
Energy's kicking up.
No, I'm supposed to
I need more people to thank, though.
without someone. But
I like the bass line and the drumming, solid. Is Anthony Fantano going to destroy me now? Beautiful. Well done. I'm kind of liking day 3. This isn't bad.
Billie Eilish, thank you. Okay, now we're going to talk about something close to my heart.
Oh, okay.
The Black community in this country is hugely diverse. On my father's side, I am descended from African Americans who came from slave ships that landed in South Carolina and who were part of the Great Migration North that has played such a defining role in who we are as a nation. On my mother's side, my grandparents came here as immigrants, part of a rich history that has also defined America. They immigrated to this country from the West Indies through Ellis Island in the 1920s. I often think about how my grandmother must have felt when she first saw the Statue of Liberty and her raised torch. My family's story is not unique. Unless you're Native American, your family likely came here from somewhere else, whether it was 5 years ago or 200 years ago, whether it was by choice or by bondage. Etched into the DNA of who we are as a nation is the very idea that though you may be from somewhere else, you can find your home here. But that idea is in danger, now more than ever before.
Tell me.
Okay, we will then go back to the next major event of day 3. A bunch of different people sending me messages. Sean Quillen says via Super Chat, which consider yourself invited, by the way, to send a Super Chat if you're watching on YouTube. Keep up the good work. Shout out to Shalea. Love it. Cameron Bawley, David St. George, Jennifer Cross, and Patrick Standish are jumping in. Daryl Haynes liked the music, saying the song is rockin'. Chris Hollis says the duet with David saying memberships in the background is amazing. The dude was a big fan of the mellow David energy. Michelle Bennett said don't underestimate Billie Eilish. I don't think anybody was. I don't think anybody was doing that. Okay, so people generally seem to like that. I think that's great. Is there other? I'm trying to think. Were there other performances? Oh, okay, yeah. Jennifer Hudson and Prince Royce. Excellent. All right. I probably am partial to Prince Royce between these two myself. I don't know if that's going to be a problem from the standpoint of everybody bailing on my stream, but I have to tell you. Okay. Okay, Violeta Caro has sent me a Spanish super chat. Spanish, saying, Hola, David. That's hi, David. People didn't know. Saludos para ti de parte de mis papás, Víctor y Eva. Greetings from my parents, Victor and Eva. No nos perdemos tus transmisiones. We never miss your show. Ellos no hablan inglés. They don't speak English. Pero con mucho gusto les traduzco todo lo que comunicas. Recién te solicité para un cameo. Saludos. Okay, so she's translating and she sent me a cameo, which for some reason has not come in so far. But okay, that's okay. No big deal. Okay, things are continuing. A few other people to say thank you to. Jan Concepcion is new member number 13 today. Bill Kuehler is number 14. John Erickson is 15. And Matthew Vermelin is number 16. 16's a nice number. I like it. Also, Jamaica Whitsetter has grabbed a YouTube subscription, and 3 on Speed has subscribed with Twitch Prime. So yes, English and Spanish messages are acceptable. Others I can't really say too much of, really. Anthony says, stoked on you, David. Wanted to donate. Say I love you to my wife sitting next to me watching this. She has no clue. Okay, Anthony's wife, Anthony loves you. Or am I supposed to say I love her? I'm not sure I get it, but it sounds like a lot's going on at Anthony's house. And Arado says, love the show, David. Here's to one day ridding our system of big money donors and lobbyists. And then a very special moment over on Twitch. Donkey Show has gifted 13 subscriptions, if you can imagine that.
But Donald Trump took away my ability to apply for the program.
Trabajamos duro, salimos adelante, pagamos impuestos.
We work hard, we contribute to our community, and we pay our taxes. I've gone to school and built a good life for me and my 2 daughters.
I want to go to law school. I want to help my community. But ever since Donald Trump was elected, all our fears have returned.
We don't know if our family will be separated. Will my mom and sister be detained? Will my sister get the health care she needs and deserves?
I don't have the right ID, so I can't get health insurance through the exchange. I need health insurance. I deserve it, right?
Claro que sí, mija. Todos merecemos esperanza, buena vida y salud. Me rompe el corazón ver cómo separan a niños de sus familias en la frontera. Eso está mal. Esos bebés necesitan a sus padres.
It breaks our hearts to see children separated from their families at the border. That's wrong. Those children need their parents. On November 3rd, I'm going to vote for my mother, my sister, and my daughters. I will vote for a future where all of our lives have dignity and respect.
We need a leader who will fix the broken immigration system and commit to keeping families together.
I'm voting for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, the daughter of immigrants. Who are you going to vote for?
Estamos todos juntos. Envía la palabra únete al 30330.
There's something unique about America.
Yes.
We don't simply welcome new immigrants. We are born of immigrants. That is who we are. Immigration is our origin story. After all, unless your family is Native American, all of our families come from someplace else. In these new Americans, we see our own American stories. Life in America was not always easy. There was discrimination and hardship and poverty. But like you, they no doubt found inspiration in all those who had come before them. And they were able to muster faith that here in America, they might build a better life and give their children something more. Tension throughout our history between welcoming or rejecting the stranger, it's about more than just immigration.
This is
about
nicely
the
done.
meaning of America. What kind of country do we want to be? Immigrants are the teachers who inspire our children. They're the doctors who keep us healthy. They're the engineers who design our skylines and the artists and the entertainers who touch our hearts. Immigrants are soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, Coast Guardsmen who protect us. We can never say it often or loudly enough. Immigrants and refugees revitalize and renew America. It's not something to take for granted. It's something to cherish and to fight for. God bless you. May God bless the United States of America.
Well put together, I must say.
Yeah.
Music, yes, no? What do people say? Are we just doing music? Should I do new members again during music? No?
When the night has come,
People don't want it. Yes, they
and the land
do.
is dark, y la luna es la luz que brillante en mí.
All right, we'll do a few. Edwin Webb is number 17. Shauna Moreno is number 18. Scott Schiltz is number 19. Carl Lamarck, you are number 20. Robert Seidel, number 21. I guess that's it. Wow, a lot of people are furious. I can't tell with what. Are people mad at me? Did I do something wrong? Leonardo Jimenez, number 22. Ringo Star 34, thank you. Man, people just don't know how to behave. Is Keck W good or bad? I don't even know. Oh, man. Someone just sent me a super chat saying, what was it? It was insane. Chris H says, I'm voting for Trump. Thank God for him. Oh my God, seek help, Chris, please. How do you get through the day, honestly? I don't know why this is happening either.
Whenever you're in trouble, won't you stand by me? Oh, baby, won't you stand by me? Oh, stand, darling, junto a mí.
Okay,
Mi
wow.
gente, let's stand by each other. Don't forget to vote this November. Together we can make a change. Ya lo saben. No se olviden votar este noviembre. En la unión está la fuerza. Let's go.
There we go.
That was Prince Royce. Amazing. Shout out to the Boogie Down Bronx. In this next piece, you'll hear about the vital role that women have played in moving us toward a more perfect union and breaking through that proverbial glass ceiling. And after that, you'll hear from Secretary Hillary Rodham Clinton, a woman who put over 65 million cracks in it.
Okay, so just minutes remaining before former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton is going to be speaking. Simple Zach says via Twitch, from the standpoint of independent progressive media, I thoroughly enjoy your elements of your content very strongly. Cheers, man. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. A lot of super chats coming in. The super chat, it's somebody opened up a fire hose and is just wasting water, I guess. Daniel Cohn says, hi, Pacman. I appreciate your sober and thoughtful progressive approach. Thank you for everything. Victor Sanchez says, I'm Hispanic. Stop the music. Well, so am I, my friend. By the way, I did a segment about how I think I filled out the census incorrectly. Like, it was surprisingly tricky the way it was worded. And ultimately, I actually believe now that the way I should be filling out the census is on the question of Hispanic regardless of race. The answer is yes. I was born in Argentina to an Argentinian family, grew up speaking Spanish. So I believe I'm a yes on Hispanic regardless of race. And then I think Asian is actually my race, in the sense that Ashkenazi Jews are 11 people, which last I checked is Asia. So I think that I'm a Hispanic Asian, essentially. I know this sounds completely nuts, but this is actually not a joke. I read a very interesting article about it, and I'm certainly not European in the sense Richard Spencer thinks about Europeans. Those are the Europeans that were oppressing me for 2,000 years. So that wouldn't make any sense. That would whitewash the history of anti-Semitic oppression. So if we are going to divide things up in this way, I think I'm Hispanic and Asian. It's crazy, I know. And I know people think I'm kidding, but I'm really not. That's the weird thing. Sabrina Zafar says, pulling an all-nighter at work, you were the only thing getting me through. By the way, if somebody clips that, that could be a problem for me. But send it to me if you do. Andrew Fox Singh says elements of content. David St. George says, I'm Irish Catholic and Russian Jewish. I wonder if that qualifies me as a real American. Maybe I should be shipped back to Galway or Novosibirsk. I never know how to pronounce that. Al Rek says, watching from Iraq. Stick with it, David. This is a global fight. Thank you. I appreciate that. Great to hear. Robert Seidel sent a super chat asking for people to hate on Chris H. Okay, that's aggressive. Galway. Okay, I guess I'm not really sure how the right pronunciation is there. Thanks to Raul Monreal, who is new member number 23 today, and Monica Bailey, who is new member number 24. We are now just moments away from Hillary Rodham Clinton's presentation, and I think it's going to be very, very interesting. Michelle Bennett says, bad karaoke music does no justice to great vocals. Maria Carolina Ferreira says, I'm from Brazil, so I'm not supposed to like David because of the Argentinian thing. But here I am, keep it up. No. We don't do, that's not, I don't like the sound of that at all. Something very strange is happening on my phone. I don't know if it's legal, but there's Megan Rapinoe. I thought it was Rapinoe, but I was schooled very strongly. Okay, well, I'm going to have to put aside the whole thing about Asian, Jewish, and all of that stuff. People are getting confused. It's really not a joke. I think you guys need to research it. It's really a whole thing. Okay, moments now from Hillary Clinton. The audience continues to build. Yesterday, we actually had a big drop-off right around this time. So hopefully we can keep building the audience. The DNC audience is bigger. It's at 100,000. Yesterday, at this point, it was only about 65. So seems to be more interest today than we've seen before. Brian P. says, as a heterosexual male, how do you feel about being wholly ignored by the radical left Dems? Asking on behalf of the Trump trolls in the chat. Thank you. Man, I don't even understand that. Sarah Mascara says, been with you since the early days. Thank you for making me feel sane. My pleasure. Really my pleasure. I'm glad to be here. Corey Dadbeard has subscribed at tier 1 on Twitch. Kyle Neepkin says, would you do a deep dive into a local issue? I'm interested in an analysis of the education gap in Minneapolis from an informed left perspective. It might be a little too micro. It might be a little too micro for our show, but I would be glad to evaluate the story. Okay, I believe it is time. People are ready for Hillary, for lack of a better term. Let's see. New hairstyle, okay. The lighting, again, beautiful.
After the last election,
beautiful lighting.
I said, we owe Donald Trump an open mind and the chance to lead. I meant it. Every president deserves that. And Trump came in with so much set up for him, a strong economy, plans for managing crises, including a pandemic. Yes, we Democrats would have disagreed with him on many things, but if he had put his own interests and ego aside, seen the humanity in a child ripped from her parents at the border, or a protester calling for justice, or a family wiped out by natural disaster, that would have been a good thing for America and the world. I wish Donald Trump knew how to be a president, because America needs a president right now.
Live.
Throughout this time of crisis, Americans keep going, checking on neighbors, showing up to jobs as first responders, hospitals, grocery stores, nursing homes. Yes, it still takes a village. And we need leaders equal to this moment of sacrifice and service. Yes, it still takes a village. And we need leaders equal to this moment of sacrifice and service. We need Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Everyone has a story about Joe's caring and empathy. I remember him calling after my mother, Dorothy, died, and we talked about being raised by strong women. The best testament to Joe is how he's cared for his family. And how great is it that Dr. Jill Biden plans to keep teaching as First Lady. And Joe picked the right partner in Kamala. She's relentless in the pursuit of justice and equity, and she's kind. When her press secretary, Tyrone Gale, was dying of cancer, she dropped everything to be with him in his final moments. I know something about the slings and arrows she'll face, and believe me, this former district attorney and attorney general can handle them all. So this is the team to pull our nation back from the brink. But they can't do it without us. For 4 years, people have told me, I didn't realize how dangerous he was. I wish I could do it all over.
Some of
Or
us were
worse,
making
I
that
should
pretty
have
clear
voted.
4 years ago.
Look, this can't be another woulda, coulda, shoulda election. If you vote by mail, request your ballot now and send it back right away. If you vote in person, do it early. Become a poll worker. Most of all, no matter what, vote. As Michelle Obama and Bernie Sanders warned us, if Trump is reelected, things will get even worse.
Indeed.
That's why we need unity now more than ever. Remember back in 2016 when Trump asked, what do you have to lose? Well, now we know.
Quite a bit.
Our health care, our jobs, our loved ones, our leadership in the world, and even our post office. But let's set our sights higher than getting one man out of the White House. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are going to give us so much to vote for. Let's vote for the jobs that Joe's plan will create. Clean energy jobs to fight climate change, caregiving jobs with living wages. Vote for emergency relief that lifts small businesses and saves hardworking people from foreclosures and evictions. It's wrong that billionaires got $400 billion richer during the pandemic while millions lost their $600 a week in extra unemployment. Vote for the parents and teachers struggling to balance children's education and safety, and for healthcare workers fighting COVID-19 with little help from the White House. Vote for paid family leave and health care for everyone, for Social Security, Medicare, and Planned Parenthood. Vote for dreamers and their families. Vote for law enforcement purged of racial bias that keeps all our streets safe. Vote for justice for George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and Ahmaud Arbery, because Black lives matter. Vote for honest elections so we, not a foreign adversary, choose our president. Vote for the diverse, hopeful America we saw in last night's roll call. And don't forget, Joe and Kamala can win by 3 million votes and still lose.
Indeed.
Take it from me. So we need numbers overwhelming so Trump can't sneak or steal his way to victory.
Like I've said.
Text VOTE 30330 to get started. 100 years ago yesterday, the 19th Amendment to the Constitution was ratified. It took 7 decades of suffragists marching, picketing, and going to jail to push us closer to a more perfect union. 55 years ago, John Lewis marched and bled in Selma because that work was unfinished. Tonight, I'm thinking of the girls and boys who see themselves in America's future because of Kamala Harris, a Black woman, the daughter of Jamaican and Indian immigrants, and our nominee for vice president. This is our country's story, breaking down barriers and expanding the circle of possibility. And to the young people watching, don't give up on America. Despite our flaws and problems, we've come so far. We can still be a more just, equal country with opportunities previous generations could never have imagined. There's a lot of heartbreak in America now. And the truth is, many things were broken before the pandemic. But as the saying goes, the world breaks everyone, and afterward, many are strong at the broken places. That's Joe Biden. He knows how to keep going, unify, and lead, because he's done that for his family and country. So come November, if we're strong together, we'll heal together. We'll redeem the soul and the promise of our country.
Well, maybe we'll start
led
to.
by President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala
Tonight is a night steeped in women who have
Wow.
stepped into service.
Okay, so we'll see who's coming up next, but there is Hillary Clinton. Chris Hollis just notified me via Super Chat that he switched his vote from Trump to Biden-Harris after becoming a member of the David Pakman Show. Of course, my last name is spelled Pakman, but I still appreciate it. KMB reminding us Hillary Clinton did win the popular vote by 3 million votes. Yes, that's true. Caleb Davis says his wife is feeling the fallout of the Goodyear boycott. She works for a Goodyear company and she is watching. Please send words of encouragement. Caleb's wife, I wish I could tell you exactly what there is right now to be optimistic about from the standpoint of this Goodyear thing. The more likely outcome is that Trump's going to forget about it and he's going to move on to something else and things will be okay at Goodyear. That's my instinct and that is my sense. But I wish I had something a little more specific. Thanks also to Justin D. Winters for the support over on Twitch. Robert Seidel says, this is for my apology for aggression. I just can't handle ignorance. That's okay, Robert. Robert sending some shots across the bow at some of our own super chatters and viewers, but that's okay. We are here on almost about to enter the second hour of day 3 of the Democratic National Convention. Looks like just minutes from hearing from Nancy Pelosi.
Nancy Pelosi, Pelosi, Pelosi.
I'm a mother of 5, grandmother of 9. I know a temper tantrum when I see one. The power of the speaker is awesome.
That's a good line. That's a good line. I know a temper tantrum when I see one.
If you want to go into the arena, you have to be prepared to take a punch. But you also have to be prepared to throw a punch.
Right.
For the children.
Throw a punch for the children.
From running the House to Speaker of the House and taking on the White House, unapologetic, unafraid.
Madam Speaker. Congratulations, Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker.
I'm not a big Pelosi fan, but I like the way this video is put together.
And now, please welcome Speaker of the United States House of Representatives,
It is my honor
Nancy
to bring you the
Pelosi.
greetings of House Democrats.
Problematic
the
cue
most
there.
diverse majority in history. More than 60% women, people of color, and LGBTQ. Our diversity is our strength. Our unity is our power. This month, as America marks the centennial of women, finally women...
Struggling a little bit to speak, I'm worried.
With 105 women in the House. Proudly, 90 are Democrats. To win the vote, women marched and fought and never gave in. We stand on their shoulders, charged with carrying forward the unfinished work of our nation advanced by heroes, from Seneca Falls to Selma to Stonewall. 4 years ago, when President Obama and Vice President Biden were in the White House, they made us proud, and their leadership made our country great. In that spirit, we come together now, not to decry the darkness, but to light a way forward for our country. That is the guiding purpose of House Democrats, fighting for the people. We have sent the Senate bills for lower health care costs, for bigger paychecks, for cleaner government, protecting John Lewis's voting rights, and enacting George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. We've sent the Senate bills to protect our dreamers, LGBTQ equality, to prevent gun violence, and to preserve our planet for future generations, and even more. All of this is possible for America. Who was standing in the way? Mitch McConnell and Donald Trump. Our nation faces the worst health and economic catastrophe in our history. More than 5 million Americans are infected by the coronavirus. Over 170,000 have died. The science-based action in the HEROES Act we enacted 3 months ago is essential to safeguard lives, livelihood, and the life of our democracy. And who is standing in the way? Mitch McConnell and Donald Trump. Instead of crushing the virus, they're trying to crush the Affordable Care Act and its pre-existing conditions benefit. As Speaker of the House, I've seen firsthand Donald Trump's disrespect for facts, for working families, and for women in particular. Disrespect written into his policies toward our health and our rights, not just his conduct. But we know what he doesn't, that when women succeed, America succeeds. And so we are unleashing the power of women to take our rightful place in our national life by championing a woman's right to choose and defending Roe v. Wade, securing safe and affordable child care, preserving Social Security, and passing equal pay for equal work. Who's standing in the way? Mitch McConnell and Donald Trump. So here is our answer. We will remember in November when we will elect Joe Biden president, whose heart is full of love for America, and rid the country of Trump's heartless disregard for America's goodness. Joe Biden's faith in God gives him the courage to lead. Joe Biden's love gives him the strength to persevere. Joe Biden is the president we need right now, battle-tested, forward-looking, honest, and authentic. He has never forgotten who he is fighting for. And Kamala Harris is the vice president we need right now, committed to our Constitution, brilliant in defending it, and a witness to the women of this nation that our voices will be heard. Our mission is to fight for a future equal to the ideals of our founders, our hopes for our children, and the sacrifices of our veterans, our brave men and women in uniform, and their families. We will increase our majority in the House. We will win a Democratic majority in the Senate. We will elect Kamala Harris vice president, and we will elect Joe Biden president of the United States of America. God bless you, and God bless America.
Okay.
Thank you, Speaker Pelosi. The House is the people's house.
I thought Hillary was a little better, to be perfectly frank with everybody. I don't need to necessarily say more about that. If you are voting early or absentee, I would love to hear where you are and how your ballot request process has gone. You can let me know. If you're watching on YouTube, certainly via Super Chat, I would love to see what people are up to as far as ballots are concerned. Ali says Billie Eilish 2024. Spread the word, pack meme gang. Zach Giannikos says COVID-19 denial has me pessimistic about the climate and the impending global energy crisis. How are we going to solve a crisis that will span decades? Well, it'll span more than that. It's going to span more than that in all likelihood. What else do we have? Matt Glynn says, new member mate number 25. Good day from Sydney too. Actually, I have a few people to say thank you to. Oh boy, things are getting crazy. Hannah Chapman is number 25. Lewis Everhart is number 26. Kiko Omar White is number 27. Robert McCormick, you are number 28. Sarah Nugent, number 29. Joshua Horner is number 30. And Raquel Critelli is number 31. What an evening. What an evening. It is night 3 of the Democratic National Convention. We have heard from Hillary Clinton. We heard from Nancy Pelosi. We heard from Prince Royce as well as Billie Eilish. We heard from Governors Tony Evers and Michelle Grisham. We heard from Gabby Giffords. We are still waiting for Jennifer Hudson, Senator Kamala Harris, and former President Barack Obama. Since we only have an hour left, since we still have a full hour left, but only 3 major speakers remaining, I'm guessing we are going to have some longer pre-produced packages and presentations coming our way, culminating, I would guess, with Barack Obama, although maybe Kamala Harris is going to be the last person. But yeah, there's going to be some filler for sure in the next 60 minutes. If you are just joining us on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter. Oh no, YouTube got shut down. I'm sorry, Facebook got shut down because of the musical content. We triggered some kind of thing with copyright. Oh boy, okay. Well, that's not so good. But we're still going strong on YouTube and Twitch. If you are watching on YouTube, please make sure to hit the subscribe button. You'll be notified in the future when I go live. Make sure you're following on Twitch if you were watching there. Window Zombie requested absentee ballot in Minnesota, got primary ballot within a couple days, mailed it before the election, counted on election date, haven't received general yet. Laura Curiel, Somerville, Massachusetts, received my ballot Monday, dropped it off at City Hall today. Go Ed Markey. Tikaz, Wisconsin, just got my ballot application today. Very nice. KJV says, hey, David, hoping to call in later about this, but my mom is a centrist on the fence about voting for Joe since the Kamala pick. How can I persuade her? Well, I assume she's not an idiot because you seem to have a good head on your shoulders, so I'm sure she'll come around. Dia T says, hey, from Australia, please vote and don't give us another 4 years of nonsense. Also, not sure why universal health care is considered radical in the U.S. Yes, that is a very fair question. Tasty Fiery Funk and BB Bok Choi have subscribed with Twitch Prime. Donkey Show and Waxwell are gifting subscriptions on Twitch like there's no tomorrow. Francisco Resto says, I was going to vote absentee, but I cannot trust the post office, so I will be voting early in person. In-person voting starts on October 24th here. Yeah, remember that the rules for early are different in every state, and it's important to know how early, when, where. Usually it's limited polling places. You can find all of that information I believe on vote.org, there's a page, an entire page about early voting, which you could check out. Okay, people want to hear something about what's going on. Let's listen.
At the time, the police considered domestic violence something that was not a crime. In the home, it's a private matter. And so women were responsible for their own injuries.
I was about to say I know. Well, I don't know. I can only guess how painful that is.
Growing up, our father said that the greatest of all sins was the abuse of power. He told us when a bully, when someone bigger or stronger takes advantage of you, that is a really grave sin. The expectation was for all four of us to be a person of character. If you see something wrong, we were then expected to stand up and do something about it.
When Joe introduced the legislation, few believed it could pass.
Our bill is an ambitious undertaking. It is the first attempt to address violent crimes against women.
It was hard to get the votes because you had some traditionalists who just didn't believe that there should be laws about this.
But Joe doesn't give up. He's tenacious. Joe persevered, and he's very good at persuasion.
They're doing nothing to help him. Nothing.
He brought together law enforcement, prosecutors, advocates, and survivors.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to come and speak.
In 1994, the Violence Against Women Act became law and protected millions of American women.
A lot of the change in the attitudes we have about domestic violence were shaped by his leadership on this.
If you see something wrong, we were then expected to stand up and do something about it.
If you're just joining us, welcome. Coming up, we're going to hear from President Barack Obama and Senator Kamala Harris, who will talk about the Biden-Harris vision for the future. But in order to get to that more perfect union, we have to acknowledge where we are. Today in America, we are struggling. Unemployment has skyrocketed and families are fighting to keep their jobs. As Joe Biden says, we need to build back better. To find out how you can join that effort, please text JOIN to 30330 to get plugged into this campaign and to get more information on how to vote and how to volunteer. Joe Biden has a plan to help working families and small businesses. Our next speaker, Hilda Solis, worked alongside him as Secretary of Labor to make sure that there were good American jobs and that Americans were safe on the job. To hear more about the Biden-Harris economic plan, please welcome Hilda Solis.
Okay.
Hello, I'm Hilda Solis. The day Vice President Biden swore me in as Secretary of Labor was one of the proudest moments of my life. My parents realized they had achieved their American dream because the daughter of two blue-collar immigrants would make history and give voice to people just like them. American workers need a fighter now more than ever, and Joe Biden is that person because he has done it before and I've seen it firsthand. He and President Obama made it easier for home care workers to organize. They extended overtime pay to more than 4 million workers. They saved the automobile industry and a whole lot of good union jobs with it. And when millions of families lost their homes, my friend from California, Senator Kamala Harris, took on the big banks and won. But because of Donald Trump's failures, we must once again rescue a sinking economy. Millions of Americans are out of work, and communities of color are the hardest hit. Millions of essential workers are putting their lives at risk with little protections, and millions more are just plain tired. That's why Joe Biden and Kamala Harris actually have a plan, not only to recover what we lost, but to improve upon it, to build back better. Creating 5 million good union jobs by bringing back supply chains to America, that's building back better. Creating millions of jobs by investing in clean energy, that's building back better. And making sure that working families can afford childcare, that's how we build back better. So let me borrow and slightly edit something Joe Biden said at my swearing in. When it comes to expanding the economy for all people, no one is going to be a stronger voice than our next president, Joe Biden. The conversation you're about to see proves it.
Behind every business, there's a story.
Small businesses around the country are bearing.
Okay, so still two big speakers scheduled, Kamala Harris and Barack Obama. So many people want to weigh in on how they will be voting. That's the question, among anything else, that I've asked via Super Chat. Brett DeGreen says, I live abroad. Turns out Arizona offers email ballot opportunity. That sounds weird. I've never heard of that. Soto Solutionful says Bernie Sanders only voted for Biden's crime bill because of domestic violence component. Wonder why getting votes were so hard. Andrea Larson, Washington State is all mail-in, but I'll be delivering it personally this election to avoid getting it lost in the mail. Yeah, I plan to drive my ballot over to City Hall, quite frankly, just to be absolutely sure. Tristan Nichelle asked me to keep an eye on Trump's Twitter, just did. David Adams says Washington State has automatic mail-in voting for me. And I think that gets me caught up. Great Grebo, Peter Danon, Rob Seidel, Get Trump Out, and Speedbones have all subscribed or gifted subscriptions over on Twitch. This is the same person who tweets under the name or sends messages under Bernie Sanders. From the standpoint of churning the elements of ideas, how much is the Rubin Report a propaganda delivery system for far-right extremism? I don't know. Jose says, David, did you know Rush called Harris a hoe? Yes. Yes, I did know that. A few other thank yous that I would like to offer. Eric Deggies is new member number 32 tonight. Mark Grad is number 33. Kavika Knight is number 34. And Diego Obeso is number 35. Very, very special things happening at joinpacman.com. Luis Everhart asks, ¿Te gusta la bachata? Not so much. Felicidades por tu trabajo, pana. Un abrazo. Okay. Bay Photo, voting from Oakland, Harris's hometown, will drop my ballot at the courthouse so the elections office gets it. Yeah, I know more and more people who are planning to do that. I understand why. I mean, we just, at this point, with what's going on with the mail, now Louis DeJoy is saying he's not going to do anything else to the mail, but what they've done may already be enough. I think we just got to be careful. Just, if you can drive your ballot over to, or walk it over to a ballot box, I don't think that that's an altogether bad idea. And I understand exactly why people are planning to do it. I'm planning to do it. Okay, let's see what else we have going on here. I did miss Andre DeHaan, who is new member number 36 today. Let's tune back in here as we are realistically moments away from the next big speaker.
Es más difícil, mucho más trabajo. Yo voy a hacer todo lo posible por salvar el restaurante.
We don't ask for much from government, but catch us when we're falling. And I know that it must feel like you're falling right now without a net.
Restaurants are among the hardest businesses to succeed at, but I was going to do it in a way that was going to provide a successful career for not only myself, but 100 employees.
This is the story of Dan Reiner. He's a fifth-generation farmer struggling to keep his business alive. I'm not so sure that the president understands that when he thinks about business, I don't think he thinks about farmers as a business.
No, he has no clue about this stuff.
Dan, tell me a little bit about the farm.
We've been here since 1864. Trade tariffs with China have just been horrible. Part of the language in the trade deal said that China does not have to buy unless the price is to their advantage. What kind of trade deal is that? That's no deal. Then when COVID hit, then everything just plummeted. Getting through now, that's the problem. That's the day-to-day battle.
I believe that Joe Biden will be a clear voice for us, something that we have not had.
Joe Biden has an understanding of what the average American is experiencing. I think he's with me.
Enough is enough. It's time to help small businesses, middle-class folks manage their way through a pandemic.
I have a lot of confidence in Joe Biden. He's a fighter and he's the real deal.
We've taken a lot of knockdowns, and we know that at the end of the day, we will endure.
We will rise again.
Every time I get knocked down, I got to get up and keep running, keep going, keep going.
Who's next? Elizabeth Warren.
Tonight, we've heard from the people who make America work, people who put their lives on the line to keep our country going. And since COVID-19 hit, they've taken one gut punch after another. And what has the COVID fallout done to our babies? Well, I'm here at the Early Childhood Education Center in Springfield, Massachusetts.
No way.
Which has been closed for months.
Near my old stomping grounds.
Childcare was already hard to find before the pandemic, and now parents are stuck. No idea when schools can safely reopen, and even fewer childcare options. The devastation is enormous. And the way I see it, big problems demand big solutions. Now, I love a good plan. And Joe Biden has some really good plans. Plans to bring back union jobs in manufacturing and create new union jobs in clean energy. Plans to increase Social Security benefits, cancel billions in student loan debt, and make our bankruptcy laws work for families instead of the creditors who cheat them. These plans reflect a central truth. Our economic system has been rigged to give bailouts to billionaires and kick dirt in the face of everyone else. But we can build a thriving economy by investing in families and fixing what's broken. Joe's plan to build back better includes making the wealthy pay their fair share, holding corporations accountable, repairing racial inequities, and fighting corruption in Washington. Let me tell you about one of Joe's plans that's especially close to my heart, childcare. As a little girl growing up in Oklahoma, what I wanted most in the world was to be a teacher. I loved teaching. And when I had babies and was juggling my first big teaching job down in Texas, it was hard, but I could do hard. The thing that almost sank me, childcare. One night, my Aunt Bee called just to check in. And I thought I was fine. But then I just broke down and started to cry. I had tried holding it all together, but without reliable childcare, working was nearly impossible. And when I told Aunt Bee I was going to quit my job, I thought my heart would break. And then she said the words that changed my life. I can't get there tomorrow, but I'll come on Thursday. And she arrived with 7 suitcases and a Pekingese named Buddy and stayed for 16 years. I get to be here tonight because of my Aunt Bee. I learned a fundamental truth. Nobody makes it on their own. And yet, here we are, 2 generations of working parents later. And if you have a baby and don't have an Aunt Bee, you're on your own. And here's why that is wrong. We build infrastructure like roads and bridges and communication systems so that people can work. That infrastructure helps us all because it keeps our economy going. It's time to recognize that childcare is part of the basic infrastructure of this nation. It's infrastructure for families. Joe and Kamala will make high-quality childcare affordable for every family, make preschool universal, and raise the wages of every childcare worker. Now, that's just one plan, but it gives you an idea of how we get this country working for everyone. Donald Trump's ignorance and incompetence have always been a danger to our country. COVID-19 was Trump's biggest test. He failed miserably. Today, America has the most COVID deaths in the world and an economic collapse.
Very
and
much so.
Both crises are falling hardest on Black and brown families. Millions out of work, millions more trapped in cycles of poverty, millions on the brink of losing their homes, millions of restaurants and stores hanging by a thread. This crisis is bad, and it didn't have to be this way. This crisis is on Donald Trump and the Republicans who enable him. On November 3rd, we will hold them all accountable. So, whether you're planning to vote wearing a mask or vote by mail, please take out your phone right now and text VOTE to 30330.
Clear and concise.
We all need
there.
to be in the fight to get Joe and Kamala elected. And after November, we all need to stay in the fight to get big things done. We stay in this fight so that when our children and our grandchildren ask what we did during this dark chapter in our nation's history, we will be able to look them squarely in the eye and say, we organized, we persisted,
and we won.
And we changed America.
Okay, not bad.
Former
that's pretty good.
President Barack Obama has said that choosing Joe Biden to be his vice president was one of the best decisions he ever made. And this is a man who has made a lot of good decisions, making health care more affordable and accessible, rescuing our economy, protecting American jobs, marrying Michelle Obama. And through it all, Joe Biden was by his side, except for maybe marrying Michelle. You can witness their mutual respect and affection in this clip. Take a look.
All right. Now, building to Obama's speech, it looks like.
So, Joe, for your faith in your fellow Americans, for your love of country, and for your lifetime of service that will endure through the generations, I'd like to ask the military aide to join us on stage.
This
For the
is
final
big
time
medal
as president,
surprise.
I am pleased to award our nation's highest civilian honor, the Presidential Medal of Freedom.
Is Trump going crazy? No, he's not.
And for the first and only time in my presidency, I will bestow this medal with an additional level of veneration, an honor my 3 most recent successors reserved for only 3 others, Pope John Paul II, President Ronald Reagan, and General Colin Powell. Ladies and gentlemen, I am proud to award the Presidential Medal of Freedom with distinction to my brother, Joseph Robinette Biden, Jr. Will the aide please read the citation?
Vice President Joseph R. Biden, Jr. In a career of public service spanning nearly half a century, Vice President Joseph R. Biden, Jr. has left his mark on almost every part of our nation, fighting for a stronger middle class, a fairer judicial system, and a smarter foreign policy, providing unyielding support for our troops, combating crime and violence against women, leading our quest to cure cancer, and safeguarding the landmark American Recovery and Reinvestment Act from corruption. With his charm, candor, unabashed optimism, and deep and abiding patriotism, Joe Biden has garnered the respect and esteem of colleagues of both parties, and the friendship of people across the nation and around the world, while summoning the strength, faith, and grace to overcome great personal tragedy. This son of Scranton, Claymont, and Wilmington has become one of the most consequential vice presidents in American history, an accolade that nonetheless rests firmly behind his legacy as husband, father, and grandfather. A grateful nation thanks Vice President Joseph R. Biden, Jr. for his lifetime of service on behalf of the United States of America.
If you could raise the camera 3 feet, it would be great. All right, here we go.
Good evening, everybody. As you've seen by now, this isn't a normal convention. It's not a normal time.
Weird angle here, too.
So tonight, I want to talk as plainly as I can about the stakes in this election. Because what we do these next 76 days will echo through generations to come. I'm in Philadelphia, where our Constitution was drafted and signed. It wasn't a perfect document. It allowed for the inhumanity of slavery and failed to guarantee women, and even men who didn't own property, the right to participate in the political process. But embedded in this document was a North Star that would guide future generations. A system of representative government, a democracy, through which we could better realize our highest ideals. Through civil war and bitter struggles, we improved this Constitution to include the voices of those who'd once been left out. And gradually, we made this country more just and more equal and more free. The one constitutional office elected by all of the people is the presidency. So at a minimum, we should expect a president to feel a sense of responsibility for the safety and welfare of all 330 million of us, regardless of what we look like, how we worship, who we love.
That didn't happen.
How much money we have, or who we voted for. But we should also expect a president to be the custodian of this democracy. We should expect that regardless of ego, ambition, or political beliefs, the president will preserve, protect, and defend the freedoms and ideals that so many Americans marched for, went to jail for, fought for, and died for. I have sat in the Oval Office with both of the men who are running for president. I never expected that my successor would embrace my vision or continue my policies.
Right.
I did hope, for the sake of our country, that Donald Trump might show some interest in taking the job seriously. That he might come to feel the weight of the office.
Right.
And discover some reverence.
This is building.
For the democracy that had been placed in his care. But he never did. For close to 4 years now, he has shown no interest in putting in the work.
Of course.
No interest in finding common ground. No interest in using the awesome power of his office to help anyone but himself and his friends. No interest in treating the presidency as anything but one more reality show that he can use to get the attention he craves.
Someone's going to have to explain this speech to Trump.
Donald Trump hasn't grown into the job because he can't.
That's right.
And the consequences of that failure are severe.
Death for many.
170,000 Americans dead.
Right.
Millions of jobs gone, while those at the top take in more than ever. Our worst impulses unleashed, our proud reputation around the world badly diminished, and our democratic institutions threatened like never before. Now, I know that in times as polarized as these, most of you have already made up your mind. But maybe you're still not sure which candidate you'll vote for.
Speak to them.
Or whether you'll vote at all.
Speak to them especially.
Maybe you're tired of the direction we're headed, but you can't see a better path yet. Or you just don't know enough about the person who wants to lead us there.
We know plenty.
So let me tell you about my friend, Joe Biden. 12 years ago, when I began my search for a vice president, I didn't know I'd end up finding a brother. Joe and I come from different places, different generations, but what I quickly came to admire about Joe Biden is his resilience, born of too much struggle, his empathy, born of too much grief. Joe is a man who learned early on to treat every person he meets with respect and dignity, living by the words his parents taught him. No one's better than you, Joe, but you're better than nobody. That empathy, that decency, the belief that everybody counts, that's who Joe is. When he talks with someone who's lost her job, Joe remembers the night his father sat him down to say that he'd lost his. When Joe listens to a parent who's trying to hold it all together right now, he does it as a single dad who took the train back to Wilmington each and every night so he could tuck his kids into bed. When he meets with military families who've lost their hero, he does it as a kindred spirit, the parent of an American soldier, somebody whose faith has endured the hardest loss there is. For 8 years, Joe was the last one in the room whenever I faced a big decision. He made me a better president, and he's got the character and the experience to make us a better country. And in my friend Kamala Harris, he's chosen an ideal partner who is more than prepared for the job. Someone who knows what it's like to overcome barriers and who's made a career fighting to help others live out their own American dream. Along with the experience needed to get things done, Joe and Kamala have concrete policies that will turn their vision of a better, fairer, stronger country into reality. They will get this pandemic under control, like Joe did when he helped me manage H1N1 and prevent an Ebola outbreak from reaching our shores. They'll expand health care.
Remember, 2 people died of Ebola. Trump called for Obama's resignation.
Helped craft the Affordable Care Act and nail down the votes to make it the law. They'll rescue the economy, like Joe helped me do after the Great Recession. I asked him to manage the Recovery Act, which jump-started the longest stretch of job growth in history. And he sees this moment now, not as a chance to get back to where we were, but to make long overdue changes so that our economy actually makes life a little easier for everybody. Whether it's the waitress trying to raise a kid on her own, or the shift worker always on the edge of getting laid off, or the student figuring out how to pay for next semester's classes. Joe and Kamala will restore our standing in the world. And as we've learned from this pandemic, that matters.
Triggered.
Joe knows the world, and the world knows him. He knows that our true strength comes from setting an example that the world wants to follow. A nation that stands with democracy, not dictators. A nation that can inspire and mobilize others to overcome threats like climate change and terrorism, poverty and disease. But more than anything, what I know about Joe, what I know about Kamala, is that they actually care about every American, and that they care deeply about this democracy. They believe that in a democracy, the right to vote is sacred, and we should be making it easier for people to cast their ballots, not harder. They believe that no one, including the president, is above the law, and that no public official, including the president, should use their office to enrich themselves or their supporters. They understand that in this democracy, the commander-in-chief does not use the men and women of our military who are willing to risk everything to protect our nation as political props to deploy against peaceful protesters on our own soil. They understand that political opponents aren't un-American just because they disagree with you. A free press isn't the enemy, but the way we hold officials accountable.
Trump doesn't think so.
That our ability to work together to solve big problems like a pandemic depend on a fidelity to facts and science and logic, and not just making stuff up. None of this should be controversial. These shouldn't be Republican principles or Democratic principles. They are American principles. But at this moment, this president and those who enable him have shown they don't believe in these things. Tonight, I'm asking you to believe in Joe and Kamala's ability to lead this country out of these dark times and build it back better.
At least as a start.
But here's the thing. No single American can fix this country alone.
But one American destroyed it.
Not even a president. Democracy was never meant to be transactional. You give me your vote, I make everything better. It requires an active and informed citizenry. So I'm also asking you to believe in your own ability, to embrace your own responsibility as citizens, to make sure that the basic tenets of our democracy endure.
Isn't it
because
tenets?
That's what's at stake right now. Our democracy. Look, I understand why a lot of Americans are down on government. The way the rules have been set up and abused in Congress make it easier for special interests to stop progress than to make progress. Believe me, I know it. I understand why a white factory worker who's seen his wages cut or his job shipped overseas might feel like the government no longer looks out for him, and why a black mom might feel like it never looked out for her at all. I understand why a new immigrant might look around this country and wonder whether there's still a place for him here. Why a young person might look at politics right now, the circus of it all, the meanness and the lies and conspiracy theories, and think, what is the point?
60 million voted for it.
Well, here's the point.
60 million will
this
again.
President and those in power, those who benefit from keeping things the way they are counting on your cynicism. They know they can't win you over with their policies. So they're hoping to make it as hard as possible for you to vote.
Yes.
And to convince you that your vote does not matter. That is how they win. That is how they get to keep making decisions that affect your life and the lives of the people you love. That's how the economy will keep getting skewed to the wealthy and well-connected. How our health systems will let more people fall through the cracks. That's how a democracy withers, until it's no democracy at all.
Slowly.
And we cannot let that happen. Do not let them take away your power. Do not let them take away your democracy. Make a plan right now for how you are going to get involved and vote.
I'm bringing my ballot
as early as you can
in
and
my
tell
car.
your family and friends how they can vote too. Do what Americans have done for over 2 centuries when faced with even tougher times than this. All those quiet heroes who found the courage to keep marching, keep pushing in the face of hardship and injustice. Last month, we lost a giant of American democracy in John Lewis. And some years ago, I sat down with John and a few remaining leaders of the early civil rights movement. One of them told me he never imagined he'd walk into the White House and see a president who looked like his grandson. And then he told me that he had looked it up. And it turned out that on the very day that I was born, he was marching into a jail cell, trying to end Jim Crow segregation in the South. What we do echoes through generations. Whatever our backgrounds, we are all the children of Americans who fought the good fight. Great-grandparents working in fire traps and sweatshops without rights or representation. Farmers losing their dreams to dust.
The triggering.
Irish and Italians and Asians and Latinos told, go back where you come from. Jews and Catholics, Muslims and Sikhs made to feel suspect for the way they worshiped. Black Americans chained and whipped and hanged, spit on for trying to sit at lunch counters, beaten for trying to vote. If anyone had a right to believe that this democracy did not work and could not work,
would have been John Lewis.
It was those Americans, our ancestors. They were on the receiving end of a democracy that had fallen short all their lives. They knew how far the daily reality of America strayed from the myth. And yet, instead of giving up, they joined together. And they said, somehow, some way, we are going to make this work. We are going to bring those words in our founding documents to life. I have seen that same spirit rising these past few years. Folks of every age and background who packed city centers and airports and rural roads so that families wouldn't be separated, so that another classroom wouldn't get shot up, so that our kids won't grow up on an uninhabitable planet. Americans of all races joining together to declare, in the face of injustice and brutality at the hands of the state, that Black lives matter. No more, but no less. So that no child in this country feels the continuing sting of racism. To the young people who led us this summer, telling us we need to be better, in so many ways, you are this country's dreams fulfilled. Earlier generations had to be persuaded that everyone has equal worth. For you, it's a given, a conviction. And what I want you to know is that for all its messiness and frustrations, your system of self-government can be harnessed to help you realize those convictions for all of us. You can give our democracy new meaning. You can take it to a better place. you're the missing ingredient. The ones who will decide whether or not America becomes the country that fully lives up to its creed. That work will continue long after this election. But any chance of success depends entirely on the outcome of this election. This administration has shown it will tear our democracy down if that's what it takes for them to win.
It is what it takes, and they will do
So
it.
we have to get busy building it up by pouring all our efforts into these 76 days.
Run up the score.
And by voting like never before.
Literally.
For Joe and Kamala and candidates up and down the ticket, so that we leave no doubt about what this country that we love stands for today and for all our days to come. Stay safe. God bless.
Excellent speech from former President Barack Obama,
Thank
triggering
you, President Obama,
Donald Trump.
Thank you for your brilliant leadership.
Hugely triggered.
Joe Biden has chosen an extraordinary woman to be his running mate. Kamala Harris is a fighter and a trailblazer, using her groundbreaking ideas to protect families and keep them together by reducing recidivism. I am so thrilled for her to become the Vice President of the United States. Now, please welcome our convention chair, Congressman Benny Thompson.
All right, so standing by now for Kamala Harris, who will be the last speaker of the evening. Super chats just pouring in, people with so much to say. People are gifting subscriptions. People are destroying their computers, throwing their cell phones into the trash, going absolutely crazy by what we are seeing here. We did hit 10,000 live YouTube viewers during the Barack Obama speech. We will see if there is even more interest in Kamala Harris's speech upcoming. People asking me about video game trailers. We're not doing that right now. Meanwhile, so Barack Obama just spoke at the DNC. Next week, that couple who pulled guns out when protesters walked by their houses in St. Louis will be speaking at the Republican National Convention, right? So you understand. Very, very different situations. And we will presumably soon hear from Kamala Harris with her perspective on what is at stake here and what is upcoming. And we are going to... Oh, also, the kid from Covington will be speaking at the RNC. And the kids, Trump's children, who he doesn't hate and has a relationship with. So I guess Tiffany Trump won't be there at all. Sebastian Boulis suggested Barack Obama should have been the VP pick. I think it would have been problematic in terms of optics, although I would have been interested in it. Samir Khatib says Obama should have worn a tan suit to annoy Hannity. I would have liked to see it. By What Design says Obama sounding like Yang right now. I don't know about that. Robert Seidel says, am I the only one that misses this man? I'm 45 and white, and I believe he was maybe not the best, but a great president. Wixie Bit says the only work Trump did was on his golf swing. Very well said. Very well said. A good opportunity now to get your potentially final super chats of the evening in as we stand by for the last moments here. Johanna Garber is new member number 37 on my website. Jwalant Joshi is number 38. Peg Ferrer is number 39. And Peter Hawley is new member number 40 today. What a beautiful round number, 40. I enjoy it very, very much. Scott Hack says from St. Louis, all of St. Louis hates them. They are litigious jackwagons. Robert Seidel says, stay tuned for Kamala. Kamala just minutes away, expecting her to probably go over 11 p.m. here on the East Coast. They've been going over by a few minutes each evening, maybe by design, quite frankly. From the standpoint of intruding on the 11 p.m. news on the East Coast, typical strategy that people often adopt during such events. Okay, let's get ready for Kamala Harris.
Running mate. She is the first Black woman, first South Asian woman to be named on the Democratic ticket.
This is a historic pick.
Someone who looks like us on a presidential ticket. That's crazy.
Kamala Harris is us. She was born in Oakland.
The daughter of immigrants.
The daughter of Chandler.
Big sister and protector.
She is.
Oh, by the way, I'm being told that Twitch is running some kind of 60% off subscriptions thing, and that this is like the best time in the history of Twitch to subscribe. I don't really know anything about it, but messages are just pouring in. People are churning this idea of 60% off, 60% off. So just something to think about. I'm thinking about it very strongly right now.
Senator Harris cares.
40% off? I don't know. Something. It sounds illegal to me.
When she says for the people, it is in every ounce of who she is. She's for us. She's for us.
She fights for women's rights. She fights to end mass incarceration.
She is a fearless advocate for the voiceless.
The litmus test for America is how we are treating Black women.
Now, I'm talking about someone who can fight for Black people, brown people, undocumented people, LGBT people, disabled people, young people, old people, all of America.
It's about all of us knowing our power, each of us, to lift people up, right?
That's 20%
and to
off.
remind
That's
them
not
that
so good.
we see them and we hear them and that they matter.
Of the United States.
Oh, this is interesting.
Greetings, America.
Is that a green screen?
It is truly an honor to be speaking with you tonight. That I am here tonight is a testament to the dedication of generations before me. Women and men who believed so fiercely in the promise of equality, liberty, and justice for all. This week marks the 100th anniversary of the passage of the 19th Amendment, and we celebrate the women who fought for that right. Yet so many of the Black women who helped secure that victory were still prohibited from voting long after its ratification. But they were undeterred. Without fanfare or recognition, they organized and testified and rallied and marched and fought, not just for their vote, but for a seat at the table. These women and the generations that followed worked to make democracy and opportunity real in the lives of all of us who followed. They paved the way for the trailblazing leadership of Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton. And these women inspired us to pick up the torch.
There's like security, but there's no crowd. It's weird.
Women like Mary Church Terrell, Mary Cloyd Bethune, Fannie Lou Hamer, and Diane Nash, Constance Baker Motley, and the great Shirley Chisholm. We're not often taught their stories, but as Americans, we all stand on their shoulders. And there's another woman whose name isn't known, whose story isn't shared, another woman whose shoulders I stand on. And that's my mother, Shamala Gopalan Harris. She came here from India at age 19 to pursue her dream of curing cancer. At the University of California, Berkeley, she met my father, Donald Harris, who had come from Jamaica to study economics. They fell in love in that most American way while marching together for justice in the civil rights movement of the 1960s. In the streets of Oakland and Berkeley, I got a stroller's eye view of people getting into what the great John Lewis called good trouble. When I was 5, my parents split, and my mother raised us mostly on her own. Like so many mothers, she worked around the clock to make it work, packing lunches before we woke up and paying bills after we went to bed, helping us with homework at the kitchen table and shuttling us to church for choir practice. She made it look easy, though it never was. My mother instilled in my sister Maya and me the values that would chart the course of our lives. She raised us to be proud, strong Black women, and she raised us to know and be proud of our Indian heritage. She taught us to put family first, the family you're born into and the family you choose. Family is my husband, Doug, who I met on a blind date set up by my best friend. Family is our beautiful children, Cole and Ella, who call me Kamala. Family is my sister. Family is my best friend, my nieces, and my godchildren. Family is my uncles, my aunts, and my chitties. Family is Mrs. Shelton, my second mother who lived 2 doors down and helped raise me. Family is my beloved Alpha Kappa Alpha, our Divine Nine, and my HBCU brothers and sisters. Family is the friends I turn to when my mother, the most important person in my life, passed away from cancer. And even as she taught us to keep our family at the center of our world, she also pushed us to see a world beyond ourselves. She taught us to be conscious and compassionate about the struggles of all people, to believe public service is a noble cause and the fight for justice is a shared responsibility. That led me to become a lawyer, a district attorney, attorney general, and a United States senator. And at every step of the way, I've been guided by the words I spoke from the first time I stood in a courtroom. Kamala Harris, for the people. I have fought for children and survivors of sexual assault. I fought against transnational criminal organizations. I took on the biggest banks and helped take down one of the biggest for-profit colleges. I know a predator when I see one. My mother taught me that service to others gives life purpose and meaning. And oh, how I wish she were here tonight, but I know she's looking down on me from above. I keep thinking about that 25-year-old Indian woman, all of 5 feet tall, who gave birth to me at Kaiser Hospital in Oakland, California. On that day, she probably could have never imagined that I would be standing before you now and speaking these words. I accept your nomination for Vice President of the United States of America. I do so committed to the values she taught me, to the word that teaches me to walk by faith and not by sight, and to a vision passed on through generations of Americans, one that Joe Biden shares, a vision of our nation as a beloved community where all are welcome, no matter what we look like, no matter where we come from or who we love. A country where we may not agree on every detail, but we are united by the fundamental belief that every human being is of infinite worth, deserving of compassion, dignity, and respect. A country where we look out for one another, where we rise and fall as one, where we face our challenges and celebrate our triumphs together. Today, that country feels distant. Donald Trump's failure of leadership has cost lives and livelihoods. If you're a parent struggling with your child's remote learning, or you're a teacher struggling on the other side of that screen, you know what we're doing right now is not working. And we are a nation that is grieving the loss of life, the loss of jobs, the loss of opportunities, the loss of normalcy, and yes, the loss of certainty. And while this virus touches us all, we gotta be honest, it is not an equal opportunity offender. Black, Latino, and Indigenous people are suffering and dying disproportionately. And this is not a coincidence. It is the effect of structural racism, of inequities in education and technology, healthcare and housing, job security and transportation, the injustice in reproductive and maternal health care, in the excessive use of force by police, and in our broader criminal justice system. This virus, it has no eyes, and yet it knows exactly how we see each other and how we treat each other. And let's be clear, there is no vaccine for racism. We've got to do the work. For George Floyd, for Breonna Taylor, for the lives of too many others to name, for our children, and for all of us. We've got to do the work to fulfill that promise of equal justice under law. Because here's the thing, none of us are free until all of us are free. So we're at an inflection point. The constant chaos leaves us adrift. The incompetence makes us feel afraid. The callousness makes us feel alone. It's a lot. And here's the thing, we can do better and deserve so much more. We must elect a president who will bring something different, something better, and do the important work. A president who will bring all of us together, Black, white, Latino, Asian, Indigenous, to achieve the future we collectively want. We must elect Joe Biden. And I will tell you, I knew Joe as vice president. I knew Joe on the campaign trail. And I first got to know Joe as the father of my friend. So Joe's son, Bo, and I served as attorneys general of our states, Delaware and California. During the Great Recession, he and I spoke on the phone nearly every day, working together to win back billions of dollars for homeowners from the big banks that foreclosed on people's homes. And Bo and I, we would talk about his family, how as a single father, Joe would spend 4 hours every day riding the train back and forth from Wilmington to Washington. Bo and Hunter got to have breakfast every morning with their dad. They went to sleep every night with the sound of his voice reading bedtime stories. And while they endured an unspeakable loss, those two little boys always knew that they were deeply, unconditionally loved. And what also moved me about Joe is the work that he did as he was going back and forth. This is the leader who wrote the Violence Against Women Act and enacted the assault weapons ban, who as vice president implemented the Recovery Act, which brought our country back from the Great Recessions. He championed the Affordable Care Act, protecting millions of Americans with pre-existing conditions, who spent decades promoting American values and interests around the world. Joe, he believes we stand with our allies and stand up to our adversaries. Right now, we have a president who turns our tragedies into political weapons. Joe will be a president who turns our challenges into purpose. Joe will bring us together to build an economy that doesn't leave anyone behind, where a good-paying job is the floor, not the ceiling. Joe will bring us together to end this pandemic and make sure that we are prepared for the next one. Joe will bring us together to squarely face and dismantle racial injustice, furthering the work of generations. Joe and I believe that we can build that beloved community, one that is strong and decent, just and kind, one in which we can all see ourselves. That's the vision that our parents and grandparents fought for, the vision that made my own life possible, the vision that makes the American promise, for all its complexities and imperfections, a promise worth fighting for. So make no mistake, the road ahead is not easy. We may stumble, we may fall short. But I pledge to you that we will act boldly and deal with our challenges honestly. We will speak truths, and we will act with the same faith in you that we ask you to place in us. We believe that our country, all of us, will stand together for a better future. And we already are. We see it in the doctors, the nurses, the home health care workers, and frontline workers who are risking their lives to save people they've never met. We see it in the teachers and truck drivers, the factory workers and farmers, the postal workers and poll workers, all putting their own safety on the line to help us get through this pandemic. And we see it in so many of you who are working, not just to get us through our current crisis, but to somewhere better. There's something happening all across our country. It's not about Joe or me. It's about you. And it's about us. People of all ages and colors and creeds who are, yes, taken to the streets, and also persuading our family members, rallying our friends, organizing our neighbors, and getting out the vote. And we have shown that when we vote, we expand access to health care and expand access to the ballot box and ensure that more working families can make a decent living. And I'm so inspired by a new generation. You are pushing us to realize the ideals of our nation, pushing us to live the values we share: decency and fairness, justice and love. You are patriots who remind us that to love our country is to fight for the ideals of our country. In this election, we have a chance to change the course of history. We're all in this fight. You, me, and Joe, together. What an awesome responsibility. What an awesome privilege. So let's fight with conviction. Let's fight with hope. Let's fight with confidence in ourselves and a commitment to each other, to the America we know is possible, the America we love. And years from now, this moment will have passed, and our children and our grandchildren will look in our eyes, and they're going to ask us, where were you when the stakes were so high? They will ask us, what was it like? And we will tell them. We will tell them not just how we felt, we will tell them what we did. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.
Okay, Vice Presidential nominee Kamala Harris. I don't think this speech was as good as Barack Obama's or Hillary Clinton's. It's a tough situation. The choice to do this sort of big stage with no people. Okay. And here is Joseph R. Biden Jr. Okay, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It's tough with this format. It's very tough. All right, night 3 of the Democratic National Convention has come to an end. That is it for tonight. Tomorrow, Joe Biden's speech, as well as a whole bunch of other people. I will have full coverage, reaction, reviews, and everything tomorrow. That is going to do it for me. Long day tomorrow. Thanks to everybody who joined me. We'll see you then.